UFC 303 this weekend. We always have him on to discuss UFC. He joins us now once again, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. It's Jordan Sherwood, co-host of the Unnamed MMA Podcast. You can find him on Twitter at Wood on ESPN 1000. What's happening, Jordan?
Gill, Wyatt, pleasure to be with you. And yeah, let's win some McGriddles so we could enjoy this weekend after tomorrow night, UFC 303.
Absolutely. And can we start with the main event? Can we do it that way? And then we'll work down. This is... I don't know how you feel about this, but Alex Pereira, Yuri Prochazka.
Yep.
This is Pereira 10-2, Prochazka 34-1, light heavyweight main event. You have a thought here. You are I'm trying to see right here. You are. Oh, this is interesting. So you have a not a side here, but you've got a prop bet on this.
Yeah, I do. And look, this is a short notice fight. Both of these guys fought each other in November. But when Conor McGregor was injured and unable to compete on this card, Dana White had to scramble, put together a good card to curry favor with people that were either going to be in attendance or watch on pay-per-view. And I think he's done it. Alex Pereira is a special talent. I mean, he's only had 8 fights in the UFC, and half of them have been in title fights. He's an absolute killer on the feet, a precision striker that carries great power in rounds 1 through round 5. And we saw that on display when he knocked out Yuri Prochazka, the last time that they met back in that November meeting. And look, I think we're going to get the same result. Yuri Prochazka, the way that he fights is very unorthodox. But his defensive mechanism is kind of the lead with his chin up in the air. And he prides himself on his toughness. It's just that Pereira has just this unique power that we haven't seen really ever in the UFC. He's growing as a fighter too, is Pereira, with his grappling under the tutelage of Glover Teixeira, the former light heavyweight champion of the world. And I think we're going to get the same result, which was a knockout victory for Alex Pereira. So if you're not confident that just on the money line at $1.45, you want to get a little bit more juice on it. For him to win by TKO is plus money. And I like that. That's how Pereira wins fights. And I expect him to do the same. So we'll see Pereira getting his hand raised and still the light heavyweight champion of the world tomorrow night.
All right, Pereira via TKO versus Prochazka. Okay, a few fights before that, we have a women's bantamweight fight. Mayra Bueno Silva against Macy Chason. This had a lot of steam. Can you explain what's going on with this?
Yeah, I mean, Silva came out, kind of as a heavy favorite, but she looked lackluster in her last fight, which was a title bid. She lost, to try and win the championship against Rocky Pennington. So she was humbled a little bit because she was on a meteoric rise. She was finishing people left to right and unable to do that. So now Macy Chason, who's looked good in her 3 previous fights, 1-2, lost 1 on a weird up kick. So she was winning that fight till she wasn't. But look, I think Belina Silva's the play here. I think she's better everywhere. She's a finisher. I think she learned a lot from that fight against Rocky Pennington. And Macy Chason, even though she's a very good grappler and well-versed to the ground, she tends to lead on those takedowns, those double legs with her head. And I think Belina Silva's going to be able to lock on a guillotine. That's one of her submissions that she hunts for in her fights. And I think that she's going to not only win the fight, so I love her just strictly on the money line because I think she's better in the stand-up. But I think her via submission is a really good opportunity. It's nearly 3-1 because Chason, look, hasn't been submitted, only been submitted once in her mixed martial arts career. But I just think because of the way that she approaches takedowns and the way that she hunts for it, Belina Silva is going to be looking for it. And look, with an impressive victory for either individual, but in particular for Belina Silva, who was in that title picture just a fight ago, I think she's right back in the mix to challenge for the championship once again, because she just lost that fight against Rocky Pennington by 3 rounds to 2. So she was in that fight, just got humbled a little bit. So I like Belina Silva on the money line, Gill, and I like her via submission to add a little bit of prop value to that play.
I like that. Juicy via submission price, plus 310 is what we're showing. That in addition to the money line on Bueno Silva against Chason. Now, right after that, before the co-main, Anthony Smith, who's coming off a big upset against Vitor Petrino, I believe, taking on Roman Dolidze. And you are all about Smith here as well.
Yeah, I am. And look, I'm glad you mentioned Petrino because I joined you, last time that he fought, and I said Petrino was going to win the fight and Petrino was going to knock him out. But Anthony Smith surprised me. Look, he's just a supremely talented fighter. Surprising he's still doing what he's doing with as many fights as he's had in the mixed martial arts career. But he's very well-rounded. And as long as he doesn't fight dumb, he doesn't put himself into positions where he's going to lose, he wins fights. And look, this is a short notice fight for both guys. Both of these guys were not a part of the card. Anthony Smith actually was going to step in first. Now he gets a new opponent. And here's the reason why I like Anthony Smith. One, Roman Dolidze is moving up in weight. He normally competes at 185. This fight's contested at 205. Anthony Smith is a natural light heavyweight. And I think Roman Dolidze's only path to victory is like in a unique submission, and that's like via a heel hook. So not only are we saying like grapple versus grapple, but like he's got to do it in a unique way. I think Anthony Smith pieces him up on the feet, and if it goes to the ground, Anthony Smith is going to be fine. The only reason why you would pick Roman Dolidze is because of the unorthodox that he brings in and that submission game that he might have. But I think Anthony Smith is clearly better everywhere. This line is off in my opinion. So just grab an Anthony Smith, the Lionheart, on the money line at plus 124. You see there on the screen. I think it's a perfect play. Easy, rest assured, he's going to get his hand raised.
The Lionheart. He owes us one, by the way, Jordan. He owes us one. And so just to clarify, also on the main card, you got nothing on the Ortega Lopez co-main and nothing on Ian Machado, Gary, and Michael Page. Nothing on those two.
Here's what I'd recommend. I think the first matchup of the main card, Gary versus Page, two great strikers. They're going to try and figure each other out. I think Gary probably wins the fight. That's the safer play, but I think the over at 2.5. I think this is going to the judges' scorecards. It's going to be a striking battle. And then it's going to be bonkers. That co-main event is nuts. Ortega, Lopez. Lopez, meteoric rise right now, 3 straight finishes. How does he look if this fight goes into round 2? Ortega is renowned for his toughness, his ability to weather storms and then get fights to ground. But Lopez is very well versed on the ground as well. And also, storyline, Ortega has said he's moving up to lightweight. He took this fight on short notice. This fight's at featherweight. Where's his head at? How's he going to look at the scale later today? So that's why I don't have an official play. I want to see what he looks like at the scale. But my heart says Lopez wins the fight. He's streaking at the right time.
Slight favorite, minus 130 on Diego Lopez in the co-main featherweight bout. All right, give us one in closing here, Jordan. Give us one rando prelim or early prelim for us.
Yeah, the old man, Andrei Arlovski, 45 years of age. It's crazy he's still competing at this level. He's fighting Martin Bidet, who's like an iceberg. Like he just like falls into like methodically, moving around the cage very slow. And I think Arlovski's going to use footwork, play from the outside, avoid the big strike, and outpoint Martin Bidet. I'm surprised by the performances we've seen from Bidet that Andrei Arlovski is as big an underdog as he is. Look, he's been chinny, but not lately. So I think it's a perfect play. Give me Arlovski. Give me the former champion, the future Hall of Famer at plus money. Or if you even want to get more creative, to him to win via decision is even higher number. So I love Arlovski.
Wow.
Put some money in your pocket. Put some McGriddles in your pocket early in the night. With Andrei Arlovski straight up on the money line.
I love that you say he's been chinny, though not lately, he sort of says with a question mark. Jordan, appreciate it. I'm going to tail a couple of those dogs. Arlovski again, plus 240. Even longer if you get frisky with it with a prop bet, but plus 240 on the money line. And then earlier we had the Bueno Silva via submission, also north of $3, in addition to the other bets. Thank you, Jordan. Appreciate it.
All right, fellas. Thank you.